Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on theory X and theory Y. So it is a motivational theory given by Douglas Macgregor in 1960. So theory X and theory Y. So a motivational theory. So in theory X, people dislike work and must be controlled. And in theory Y, people are self-motivated and enjoy work. So theory X and theory Y of motivation. So introduction. Douglas Macgregor, an American social psychologist, introduced theory X and theory Y in his 1960 book. The name of the book is The Human Side of Enterprise. So Macgregor's work aimed to explain two contrasting sets of assumptions the managers hold about their employees. One is pessimistic in like theory X, and the other is optimistic like theory Y. So these assumptions greatly influence managerial style, organizational culture, and ultimately imply motivation and productivity. So these assumptions greatly influence the managerial style, the management style, organizational culture. The meaning of organizational culture is the shared meanings and beliefs held by organizational members and determine in high degree how their employees act in the organization. So these assumptions greatly influence the management style, organizational culture, and ultimately imply motivation and productivity. So, what is motivation? So, motivation is actually it is the internal or external driving force that influence a person's actions and behavior to achieve a goal. So motivation is I can say motivation is the psychological force that initiates, guides, and maintains goal-directed behavior. So in some cases, I can say motivation means encouragement. So I can say that. So these assumptions greatly influence management style, organizational culture, and ultimately imply motivation and productivity. So theory X based on the traditional authoritarian view of motivation. So core assumption is in theory X, the assumption of theory X is that the people inherently dislike work and will avoid it thoroughly whenever possible. So people inherently dislike work. So people by birth dislike work. So people so people born to dislike work. So it means people inherently dislike work and will avoid it whenever possible. So in theory X, assume that most people must be coerced. So what is the meaning of coerced? The means of coerced is to persuade someone forcefully, to do something against his will. To do something against his will means he is unwilling to do it. So persuade someone forcefully to do something against his will. To persuade someone forcefully to do something against his will. So it is done often through the use of threats, intimidation, or authority, like that. So theory X assumed that most people must be coerced, controlled, directed, or threatened with punishment to get them to put forth adequate effort. So in the theory assumes that people must be coerced, must be forcefully, must be forced, controlled, or directed through punishment. So people, to get something or to achieve a goal, people must be coerced. So this theory assumed that. And in this theory assumed that average implies prefer to be directed, wish to avoid responsibility, and having relatively little ambition, and above all and seek security. So this theory assumed that the implies prefer to be directed. So So they are not initiative, they are prefer to be directed, and they avoid responsibility, and they said that I am not responsible, my colleague is responsible. So I am just doing work whatever the management asks to do so. And they have relatively little ambition, and above all, and they want to seek security. So what is the meaning of ambition? Ambition means the strong desire to achieve something such as success, power or wealth. So it refers to be specific, often long held goal. For example, a person had a lifelong ambition to become a doctor. So they are these in this theory X, people are not ambitious, or having a little ambitious, and they are not want to progress in the company. They don't want to become the CEO of the company. They don't want to become the board of director of the company. Don't want to become the managing director of the company. They don't want to become the they don't want to become to reach the highest rank in the company. So they said, so theory X assumed that implies are not ambitious, are having a little ambition. So motivation is primarily through fear and money. So motivation in implies is primarily get through fear and money. So when the fear is imposed on the employees, then the employees will be motivated and they will do something, and then they will get their reward in shape of money. So theory Y is called the modern participative view of motivation. So its core assumptions are, in contrast, theory Y presents a positive view of human behavior and motivation. It assumes that people are self-motivated, people want to seek responsibility, and can be trusted to work toward organizational goals. So theory Y is more advanced, and theory Y assumes that people are self-motivated. They want to accept the responsibility. They want to take the responsibility, and they work for the common goal to achieve the organizational goals. So, so the assumption of theory Y that work is as natural as play or rest. So, and people do not inherently dislike it. People as compared to theory X, which states that people inherently don't dislike work, but in theory Y assume that people do not inherently dislike work. People wants to do something, and people wants to achieve something, and people will exercise self-direction and self-control in achieving objective in achieving goals, and so people will exercise self-direction and self-control in achieving objective they are committed to. Committed to means that they are being loyal and dedicated to the company, and willingness, and they show willingness to give their time and energy for the given cause. So commitment to objective is a function of the rewards associated with their achievement, particularly intrinsic reward like satisfaction, achievement, or recognition. So recognition means the identifying or knowing someone or something from their previous experience. For example, a person receive recognition for his year of service to the community. So it can say recognitions mean know the person from his previous experience, from his past for his past work. So it can say that. So people accept and seek responsibility under proper conditions. Creativity and ingenuity are widely distributed among employees and not limited to those in managerial positions. So ingenuity means the skill to solve problem in new ways, means inventiveness or cleverness or resourcefulness to fix a problem. So creativity and ingenuity are widely distributed among employees, and it is not limited to those in managed positions. So so creativity and ingenuity both present in the lower level management, middle level management, and the top level managements. So creativity and ingenuity are present in all levels of management. So the intellectual potential of employees is only partially utilized in most organizations. So intellectual potential means the inherent capacity to think, understand, and process the information. So that the extraordinary capacity to think, understand, and process the information is called intellectual potential. So the intellectual potential of employees is not fully utilized in most organizations, as theory Y assumed that. Managerial implications of holding theory X. So the managers who hold theory X believes typically adopt an authoritarian or autocratic leadership style. So what is autocratic? Autocratic means having complete power and control where decisions are made by only one person. Having complete power and control where decisions are made by only one person or a small group of people without considering others' opinion. Without considering other opinion. So in this case, a small group or a person who take all the decisions of the company or organization, and they don't consider the opinion of the other subordinates, the opinion of the middle level managers or the opinion of low level managers. So they don't consider their opinions, say so. So all decisions are made by one person or a small group of people in the organization. So the managers who hold theory X believes typically adopt an authoritarian or autocratic leadership style. So in theory X, theory X assume that there is a strict in theory X assume that there is a strict supervision and control mechanism and detailed rules and regulations in the company, limited delegation of authority in the company. Delegations mean to give responsibility or to give a task to someone. So giving a task or responsibility to another person, it is called delegation. So managers usually delegate a task or responsibility to their subordinates. So limited delegation of authority and punishment and rewards are as main motivators. So work environment under theory X. In the work environment under theory X are centralized decision making, means that all the decision made by the central management, means the top level management, and the hierarchical organization, and there is a hierarchical organization structure in the theory X, and that in theory X assume that the organization emphasis on task completion rather than employee development, and there is a low trust between managers and subordinates. Subordinates means the employees who are working under managers. So managerial implications of theory Y. So the managers who believe in theory Y are likely use a democratic or participative leadership style. Democratic mean treat everyone equally. So everyone has a right to give their opinion, to give their ideas. So but in theory Y, managers who believe in theory Y are likely to use a democratic or participative management style. I mean, everyone has the right to participate in the management of the company, to give ideas and share their ideas, to give opinions. So what is the best for the company and what is not best for the company. So manager who believes in theory Y are likely to use a democratic or participative leadership style. Their approach often includes encouraging employees and encouraging employee participation and encouraging employee creativity and building trust and open communication and providing opportunities for growth and self-actualization. So what is self-actualization? Self-actualization is the process of realizing a person's full potential. So it is the fulfillment of personal growth, creativity, and self-fulfillment. So it is the process of realizing a person's full potential. So full potentials mean whether he is fulfilling his personal growth, whether he is creative, he has a creative mind, and whether he is self-fulfillment, whether he is fulfilling all his needs. So it is the self-actualization. So building trust and open communication and providing opportunities for growth and self-actualization. So the working environment under theory Y. So in theory Y, there is a decentralized decision making. Decentralized decision making means all level of managers, like top level managers, middle level managers, and low level managers, all are involved in decision making. All participate in the decision making, and all of their opinions and ideas are given preference for the decision making of the company. So in decentralized making, everyone share their opinion, everyone think that he is the asset of the company, and he can contribute the growth and profitability of the company. So in decentralized decision making, all the managers and subordinates can make their opinion and share their ideas to the top level managements, and the top level management will also consider their views and their opinions. And the in working environment under theory Y, there is a flexible policies and open communication, and it focus on teamwork and collaboration. So collaboration means also a teamwork. Collaboration means act of two or more people working together to achieve a common goal, by sharing their skill and knowledge. So it focuses on teamwork and collaboration and recognition of individual contribution, and it emphasis on development and learning. I mean, it's focus on development and learning. Managerial implications and modern relevance. So Macgregor did not claim that theory X or Y was entirely right or wrong. He suggested that managers' assumptions about human nature determine how they treat employees, and that this treatment in turn shape employee behavior. Means how they treat their employees, and in return how the employees behave. So in theory X may still apply in routine or low-skilled jobs. So the example of low-skilled jobs like the roles in food service like a dishwasher or fast food worker, and in retail industries such as a cashier or retail clerk, and in the cleaning and maintenance industry like a cleaner or a housekeeper, and a manual labor such as construction laborer or warehouse worker. So these positions typically require little to or no formal training or experience, and skills are often learned on the job. So theory X may still apply in routine low skill jobs where instruction and supervision are necessary. And in theory Y is more effective in knowledge based, creative and service oriented jobs. So the example of knowledge based jobs like doctor, physician, surgeons, engineers, civil engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, software engineers, computer hardware, lawyer, attorney, architect, financial analyst, chartered accountants, IT consultant, professors, pharmacists. So knowledge-based jobs rely heavily on specialized education, technical skills, critical thinking, and the application of complex information. So creative job, on the other hand, primarily involve imagination, artistic ability, and generating original ideas and innovative solutions. So theory Y is more effective in knowledge-based, creative, and service-oriented jobs where innovation and self-direction are key. Integration of both theories. In practice, managers often use a balanced approach, blending elements of both theories. Blending elements mean mixing elements of both theories. So in practice, managers often use a balanced approach, mixing element of both theories depending on the nature of the work, depending on the maturity and skill level of employees, and depending on the organizational culture. So what is organizational culture? What is the organizational culture? The organizational culture is the shared meaning and belief held by organizational member. So this flexible approach is sometimes referred to as situational management style. So what is situational management style? Situational management style is an adaptive approach where leaders adjust their leadership behavior based on the specific need of their teams and the task at hand. So instead of using one fixed style, manager evaluate the situation and the individual team members' ability. So the manager evaluate the situation and evaluate the individual team members' ability and evaluate the willingness of the team to perform. Then the manager apply the most suitable leadership style from options like telling, selling, participating, or delegating the task or responsibility. This method is also known as the contingency approach. focusing on the flexibility to maximize the performance and help the employees to grow. So it is called the situational management style. Theory X versus Theory Y. Theory X assumes employees are inherently lazy and the employees require strict supervision, and in theories the managers uses control and coercion. So I already described coercion in my previous slides. So in Theory Y assumes that employees are self-motivated, and Theory Y assumes that it encourages participations. The management encourages participation, and the management uses trust and collaboration. So comparison table: Theory X versus Theory Y. Theory X assumes employees are inherently lazy and dislike work, while Theory Y assumes employees are self-motivated and enjoy their work. And in Theory X, work as seen as something to avoid whenever possible, and in Theory Y, work is viewed as a natural and enjoyable activity. And in Theory X, employees must be forced, controlled, or threatened to work. And in Theory Y, employees will work willingly if they are committed to objective. And in Theory X, the authoritarian or autocratic style is introduced, and in Theory Y, participative or democratic style is used. And in Theory X, strict supervision and tight control is there, and in Theory Y, minimum supervision and self-direction is encouraged. And in Theory X, employees avoid responsibility and prefer to be directed, and in Theory Y, employees seek responsibility and take initiative steps. And in Theory X, people have little creativity and dislike problem solving. And in Theory Y, people are imaginative and capable of creating and capable of creative problem solving in any cases. And in Theory X, centralized decision makings is there, means centralized mean management make all decisions. And in Theory Y, decentralized decision making is there. Decentralized means employees are involved in decision making. And in Theory X, one-way top-down organizational climate, and in Theory Y, two-way open and participative management style is there. Top-down mean the top manager impose their decisions to the middle level and the lower level managers. But in Theory Y, there is open communication between top level managers and the lower level managers. Comparison table: Theory X versus Theory Y. In Theory X, reward and punishment. So in Theory X, it emphasizes on punishment, fair and monetary rewards to ensure compliance, while in Theory Y emphasizes on recognition, achievement and personal growth to motivate employees. And manager role: so in Theory X, manager acts as a controller and enforcer, closely supervising and directing employees. And in Theory Y, manager acts as a facilitator and guide. So in Theory Y, manager acts as a facilitator, guide and mentor, encouraging self-direction and participation. So what is mentor? So mentor is a wise and trusted guide. So mentor is a wise and trusted person who provide advice, support and experience to a less experienced person to help them learn and grow. So a motivator can act as a teacher, coach or a counselor, helping someone to develop their skill and to gain experience and achieve their full potential, often over a period of time. So in Theory X, organizational climate. So in Theory X, organizational climate creates a rigid, tense and rule-bound environment, while in Theory Y promotes a relaxed, open and trust-based environment that encourages collaboration. So I already discussed collaborations in my previous slides. So benefits of Theory Y. So benefits of Theory Y are higher job satisfaction, increased motivation and productivity, better employee commitment and innovation, improved organizational climate and morale. So morale means confidence. So improve morale mean boosting confidence. So morale is the confidence, enthusiasm, and the discipline of a person or a group of people at a specific time during different and difficult circumstances. So it can be boosted by positive events such as if a football team win, then it boost the confidence and improve the morale of the teammates, and and the morale can be lowered by negative one, like job losses by any person. If a person loses job, then it is a negative one. So it is the definition of morale. So morale is the confidence level. So improved morale mean boost the confidence. So it improved the organizational, the benefit of theory Y, that it improved organizational climate and morale. Criticism on theory X. So these are the 4 points for criticism on theory X. The first is that it suppresses creativity and innovation. So meaning of suppresses mean to stop or to end the activity. So it stop creativity and innovation. So it does not promote creativity and innovation in theory X. So and the second is the implies may become resentful and disengage. So what is the meaning of resentful? Resentful mean feeling angry and upset about something that you perceive as unfair. So implies may become resentful, implies feeling angry and upset, or disengaged. Disengage mean want to want to detach from the company, want to uninterested in something. So releasing something from a connection. So employees feel disengaged, disconnected, and detached from the company, and uninterested from the company. So the criticism on theory X, that implies may become resentful, may become angry and upset, or disengage, or detached from, or feel detached from the company. And the third is it creates a fear driven environment, reducing job satisfaction and motivation. And the last is that it assumes that all workers are inherently lazy, which is not always true. It is not always true. That it assumes that all workers are inherently lazy, so it is not always true. Or not all workers are inherently lazy. Some workers are happy to challenge, happy to take challenges, happy to take initiative steps, and happy to learn something, eager to learn something, and to achieve more and more in their life. So but the criticism on theory X, that it assumes that all workers are inherently lazy, which is not always true. Criticism on theory Y. So theory Y may not suit all employees all work environment. So theory Y may not suit all employees on all work environment. So it is definitely a criticism. So that is because theory Y assumes that all employees are willing to work, eager to work, they are self-motivated, they are self-directed, their confidence level is very high, they are very creative minded. So theory Y may not suit all employees or all employees in all work environment. So theory Y may not suit all employees in all work environments, and some worker may require more direction, and some workers may require more supervision. So over trusting employees without adequate structure. So over trusting the employees without proper structure can lead to inefficiency or misuse of freedom. So it is definitely over trusting is very harmful, and if a manager over trusting to his employees, that is a harmful for the harmful for the organization. So without adequate any proper structure, if managers over trusting the employees without proper structure, then it can lead to inefficiency or misuse of freedom. Efficiency means getting more output from the least amount of input. So if so it is, but in inefficiency means getting less output from the more amount of input. So it's mean that so it will definitely affect the profitability of the company. So over trusting the employees without proper structure can lead to inefficiency or misuse of freedom. So the conclusion is that Douglas McGregor's theory X and theory Y remain timeless framework for understanding motivation and leadership. So what is timeless framework? Timeless framework refers to established sets of principles, rules and regulations or structure that retain their efficiency and effectiveness, relevance and value, over a long period of time. So long period of time their value retained. So definitely Douglas McGregor's theory X and theory Y remain timeless framework. Means Douglas McGregor theory X and theory Y retain their value over a long period of time for understanding motivation and leadership. So they highlight how a manager's beliefs about human nature directly influence motivation, behavior and performance, while theory X assumes control and coercion are needed to work done. So the coercions means to persuade or forcefully force a person to do something against their will. So while theory X assume control and coercion are needed to work done, and on the other hand theory Y promotes trust, participation and self-direction. Modern management emphasizes theory Y principles, recognizing that motivated employees are the foundation of organizational structure. Definitely, modern management focuses theory Y principles, recognizing that motivated employees are the foundation of organizational structures, are the foundations of the organizational success, are the base of the organizational success. So it's all about my lecture. If you have any question, then make a comment in the comment box, and please subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching my video. See you in the next video.